Okay, so someone asked me yesterday about what I explained yesterday about the transmissions and what's the meaning of receiving transmissions and all. So the oral transmissions are the lungs when somebody just reads a text or they read the mantra. The idea is to just plant seeds in your mind because you're hearing the whole entire text. Yeah, so from beginning to end, you're hearing the whole thing. It's read very quickly, so you're not studying it and understanding it and contemplating it at that time, but you're getting all the information, implanted on your mind. And they say that when that happens, then when you actually study it and meditate on it, it's more familiar, and so it's easier for you to put it into practice and understand it. Okay, so His Holiness, when he gives these transmissions, he also gives teachings. But, so some days he does mostly transmission, little teaching, other days mostly teaching, little transmission. And it's his time, really, because this is the time when the people from the monks from the three big monasteries of Ganda, Drepung, and Sera are all together in one place, where he gives a lot of advice to the monks, about their practice, about the running of the monasteries and everything. And so this year it was quite interesting because he started out the first day talking about secular ethics and Buddhism in modern society and teaching children compassion and kind of this more outreach kind of thing. He said he was doing it because there were a lot of people who were new to Buddhism there, but he must have been doing it for, the tens of thousands of monastics as well. And later on, a day or two later, then he was talking about education in the monasteries and saying, we really need to broaden our education and, learn more about science and be able to engage more with the modern world. And so he was really emphasizing that to them. And he also introduced, it seemed like there were a couple of geshis who had worked on this book about Buddhist science, because His Holiness is very much into dividing Buddha's teachings into Buddhist science, Buddhist religion, and I think Buddhist philosophy. Yeah, so those three. So he was saying Buddhist science, there he includes not just the cosmology and stuff, which he often refutes, but the low-rig studies, the mind and awareness, how the mind operates, Buddhist psychology, these kinds of things. Philosophy would be the tenet systems and Madhyamaka, and the religious part would be, practices you do with the intention to attain liberation and full awakening. He would put mindfulness meditation probably with Buddhist science. And so he's been really keen on this division for some time. And so these geshis had just put together 2 volumes of material in Tibetan about Buddhist science, and so it will be translated, and he wants this to really get out and be of greater benefit to the world. Yeah, so he does this kind of thing in the teachings as well. And then he also, in addition to addressing the ordinary Sangha, the ordinary monastics, he said that all the geshis and abbots should get together from the monasteries and start discussing their educational program and how to improve it and what to do. And he said not just have a meeting, because lots of times things don't get done with that, but over lunch just talk to each other. And I chuckled inside when he said not just a meeting, because I remember a few years ago when he had asked them to do the same. And A Tibetan idea of a meeting or a discussion is the senior most or highest person on the hierarchy gets together, gets in front and gives a talk. Yeah, that is called a meeting or a discussion. So, his asking them to talk over lunch, I thought was quite something. Because there's certain rules, you're chuckling, because there's certain rules in Tibetan society about what you can say to who, and how honest and direct you can be with different people. Yeah. So, so for me, being with the Tibetan community in this way, being with the monastic community in this way, is very important because this was a big part of my life in Asia for all the years that I lived in Asia. Is every year I would go to the spring teachings, which at that time were in Dharamsala. His Holiness would teach 10 days to 2 weeks. And again, it would be a big gathering like this, except even more squished. This was like luxury with so much room. Really in Dharamsala, because the temple was so small, everybody was sitting literally on top of other people. And but so much of my life was imbued with that. And even after I went back to live in Singapore or the West, I tried to go back every year for these teachings. So it's an important thing for me to just being there with the community and thinking that, because we create collective karma with the different groups that we join, according to the purpose of those groups. And when we look in our lives, what are the kind of group things that we're at? Well, sports events. Okay. Yeah, I went to USC at the time of O.J. Simpson, and everybody went to the football games, and I'm telling the truth, when he came on the field, screamed, "Kill, kill." That got implanted. We go to sports events. We go to theaters. Yeah. We go to job meetings. We, political meetings. But what kind of groups do you ever attend where the reason for going is bodhicitta? Not so many. You join the military, you join a certain corporation. These are all groups that we participate in. But it's only an event like this where we join a group where the motivation is, spiritual liberation and enlightenment and benefiting others, all rolled in together. There are other groups where you go to benefit others, but, to have the aim of awakening, not so easy to find groups. So, having that kind of group karma, I think, is also important, at least for me. Yeah. So, it's very, very rich being in that environment, and seeing how the Tibetan community is evolving, how modernity is affecting them. Because they were a very ancient culture that, much against their will, have had to confront modernity for the last 50 plus years. And it hasn't been an easy experience for them. It's also nice to be at the nunnery. I didn't stay at the nunnery with the other Abbey nuns. So maybe Venerable Jigme, you can talk some more about that. Another thing I did want to talk about was, maybe I'll save it for tomorrow, about this development project they want to do in Mungo. So that's more of a discussion. I'll save that for tomorrow. Okay. Any questions or comments or anything? Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a big overlap between Buddhist science and philosophy and religion, definitely. But I think his reason for separating things out is for the sake of being able to introduce certain aspects of Buddhism into the general culture. Because he's very gung-ho about secular ethics, and teaching compassion, and teaching how the mind works and things like that. He really wants to get that out, as widely as he possibly can.